as the drivers work their way around the circuit. The drivers try and conquer a new challenge for the V8 SuperTrucks World Championship. We're at Sebring International Raceway for the first time in the series' history, as the top drivers look to conquer this 2.7-mile circuit for one of the longest races in the history of the series. And you're about to see it all live here on RaceSpotTV and on Sox Out Racing's Facebook feed. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from across the iRacing world. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth today is Paul Smith for what should be a challenging race on one of the toughest road courses on the iRacing circuit. It's round number 3 as talked about, and the second round in 2 weeks for the month of March, after some wild racing at both Interlagos and Phillip Island, and the first sprint round in the history of the series, mixed in a bundle of super sprint races that have been a part of the first few rounds of the season. Along with the other circuits, you have circuits like Homestead Miami's road course, and others looking to make their debuts. Circuit Villeneuve later on this season, along with various others making their first return since as late as 2016. But the pressure is on for the drivers to try and have points and gain those points. Lots of potential points implications though today. Dallas Pataska getting ready to try and win his third straight race to open up the season after winning the first 2 rounds. But Bobby Zalenski, the man in P number 2 in the point standings, will not be in this round, taking his available drop week per the VRS GT World Championship currently going on at the moment on the iRacing Esports Network. Ben Caverts comes into third entering today's race. Tom O'Leary, Eric Blix round out the top 5. David Williams will be also competing in that World Championship race. That's for VRS going to SimSport today. Chris Burnell, Aaron Smith, Martin Capal round out your top 10 in the driver's standing. There's also the team drivers, the team standings rather, with a lot of the top teams continuing looking to try and build some momentum in the 2019 season so far. As let's take a look at those set standings at the moment. Teams such as Radicals Online Turn Racing, VRS going to SimSport, and Radicals Online JRT are up in the top 3. 176 total team points for Radicals Online Turn Racing entering today. VRS Goanda will drop down for the time being until drop week is factored in for round number 8. Radicals Online JRT will temporarily move into second after today's race, but Lempals Racing is still on their heels along with Illusion Motorsport. Smith Esports returns to the track today with Go Team Racing, along with RSR Esports Red and Buck Jones Racing, rounding out the 9 teams that have attempted races so far in the 2019 season. There's also the Regions Championship for 2019, where the top drivers from specific countries look to represent their nation. The United States is currently on top with 191 points. The UK is in second, 30 points back. Australia third, Sweden fourth. Rounding at the top 5, Belgium. Drivers have also made appearances from the Czech Republic and Canada so far this season, as they try and show they're the best nation in the series. And rounding out the different standings is the Manufacturers Cup. 188 points entering today for the Toyota-driven teams, along with Chevrolet with 157 so far in these trucks, as they'll try and conquer what is one of the hottest racetracks we have seen today. And how hot is the big question? Let's take a look at your Minutecast presented by AccuWeather. AccuWeather, the official weather service of the Sox Out Racing V8 SuperTrucks Championship. Today's weather forecast for today: 81 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius, humidity up to 46%. Track tap at 106 degrees today, partly cloudy skies. Fairly windy as well towards the west at the moment during the qualifying. So one of the slickest racetracks we have seen all season so far. That's what's bringing in Paul Smith. A lot of drivers already feeling the challenges of the 17-turn circuit because of that weather forecast and how hot the track surface is.
Yeah, these drivers are really struggling with how they've been going along here. We'll just bring up on the screen now a couple of drivers who have yet to set a lap time, and one of those is James King, as we're seeing here on screen. So James, he's a privateer, and he's certainly going to give it a good go here for qualifying. We've seen some promising performances from James in this series. You can see he's really struggling getting the power down with the heat, and you can see the heat haze on screen there, just how hot these conditions are. It's going to be a real race of attrition is this one, and certainly these drivers, with it being the longer race, they're not going to be used to running for this long, and therefore they've got to think about their tyre conservation as well as fuel, because that's something we've never really had to talk about in this series.
Yeah, 31 miles longer than a normal race in the series with one of the new format types of races you'll see in 2019, the sprint race. It is a total of 26 laps today for a grand total of just under 100 miles as King goes into the dirt on his second attempt to end off his times, meaning a lot of drivers looking to try and manage things, as my partner had just mentioned. Let's look at your qualifying times on the left side of your screen. Sven Cameras is currently on top of the qualifying board with a 2:03.791. That was a 10th faster than his practice time for today. Dallas Pataska, Thomas O'Leary in the top 3. The Radicals online trucks have been looking very strong so far throughout this session, through practice and as well in qualifying, as we've seen.
Yeah, you look at that grouping there, in that sort of midfield, you look at how close it is, only 1 second covering 5th down to 10th, so that's going to be a pretty close battle that we will see here today, and it's always good to see a nice big grid here, and 20 trucks are going to be taking part in this event, and we've been alluding to the length of this event. It is 26 laps of this race, which equates to around about 93 miles in this one, so really it's going to be a tough ask for these drivers to look after their tyres here. But certainly in qualifying at the moment, we're just seeing how they're getting on here as they're heading down towards the hairpin. One of the trickiest points on the track, because it's so easy to lock up a brake, to lose control of the truck. But nicely done there by Connor Horn as he goes out of the hairpin, heading through Fangio.
Yeah, Connor Horn joining Go Team Racing this week, teaming up with Danny Solo for the rest of the season after starting off as a privateer as he goes for the drift. He's able to save at that time through Cunningham and heading into Collier now. But that's been something we've been seeing all day, is some drivers have been going for a stable setup today with the weather. Others, such as Connor's, they're trying to go and maximize speed, but by doing so, you have the potential of lighting up the rear tires, as you see him now head his way towards Bishop.
Fantastic piece of track here as well. You can see that truck bouncing about on its suspension and moving about at the rear. That just shows you how tricky it is. Up over the curb at Le Mans there, and Le Mans is going to be a talking point in this race, because track limits will come into effect here as well.
Yeah, for those that don't know, that back part of you just seen just past the edge of your screen, drivers are not allowed to put 4 tires in that part of the racetrack. It is automatically 2 incident points for the drivers if they head in that section of the racetrack. There is a maximum of 21 points today. If you exceed that, including the 2 accumulated, which is double the normal for an off track in that part of the racetrack, it will end up ending off your race on that specific lap as Horn smashes his truck into the wall. But a very challenging course, to say the least, for a truck. We've seen how challenging it is just for road course cars. It's going to be even more challenging for these trucks, as we've seen. Not just the bounces, but there are so many danger zones, such as Sunset Bend, where you can just lose the back end of the truck and cause an absolute big one.
Yeah, because with Sunset Bend, you're turning and braking at the same time. So easy to make a mistake that way, as Paul Slavinik now pulls up for the end of his qualifying. So we've just got to wait until that timer ticks down before we give you the full qualifying rundown. But yeah, really tricky course is this. It's bad enough in a GT car, and I know that from racing GT cars quite a bit myself. But in this truck, it's going to be another level of having to be patient on the throttle. That's going to be one of the key things that we see here. I don't think so much the looseness of setups is necessarily to do with how loose they've set up the truck. It's just purely from getting on the throttle a little bit too much, putting down a little bit too much power, and you're seeing them just squirreling away as they're trying to make it through these turns.
Absolutely on that one. Just 30 seconds left in the qualifying session. As you can see, the gap from 1st to 15th is around 3 seconds. But as you alluded to in just a few moments ago, it is very tight in the mid-pack. A lot of drivers all the way for the last portion of the top 5 to top 10, around 205 flat to 206 flat alone. So we might see some very tough battles today for drivers like Purnell, Smith, Cockrell, Slavinik, Glaze. That is going to be a very tight part of the racetrack here today as the drivers get set to take the grid. Let's take a look at the full rundown of said grid for round number 3 of the 2019 V8 SuperTrucks World Championship season. Sven Chambers is on the pole today with a 2:03.791. As this is the first time this series has headed to the circuit, that is the new qualifying record for the series. Dallas Patasco will start on his outside today, with Thomas O'Leary and Eric Blick starting off in row number 2. Row number 3 sees Chris Purnell in the 5th spot, and Aaron Smith will try and move from the 6th spot today in his yellow machine. Clifton Cockrell's in 7th, Paul Slavinik in 8th, with Vaughn Glass and Danny Solo rounding out your top 10 here, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. James King bringing it in 11th, only just beating Michael Skurlock in 12th place. Andrew Curran 13th with Connor Horn, we saw setting that time for 14th. Doc Stout, Roger Gregory 15th and 16th in your final 2 rows of the grid here. Stephen Degg Jr. and Aspen Belvin. Mark Capel not setting a lap time and in fact having to start from the pit lane. And Chase Barry rounding out your 20 truck field.
Capel reaching the safety points limit for the series. First time we had to talk about that today. 11 total safety points. Points for the drivers. The safety point system is to essentially make sure the drivers don't cause accidents, don't cause multiple incidents rather as well. And that's the first time we've seen a driver penalized for that today. Chase Berry, of course, making his series debut as the drivers that didn't record times. But the drivers getting ready to go 1 lap around the circuit for their pace lap today. Track temp has dropped to 104 degrees for the green flag today. However, there's still the challenges here. These drivers had challenges just going single file in practice and qualifying. It's going to get even more tough once they head into turn 1 all the way to 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a real challenge for these drivers in these NASCAR trucks, and it's certainly one that I'm looking forward to. But the safety car is pulling away, and it is, of course, the Porsche 911 safety car here on iRacing now, a new safety car for this year, as we're going in towards turn number 1 then, and we're on board here with Sven Chambers, and you can hear that engine is just on tick over here. He's just letting it roll with the clutch depressed here. He's wanting to use as little fuel on this warm-up lap, on this pace lap, as possible, because fuel is so crucial here in this event.
Indeed it is so far. Indeed it will be, I should rather say, for today. Pit window for today's race, when they can get the fuel in their tires, lap 6 to lap 20 for this 26-lap race. Time of day for the start, 2 p.m. in session time for the race this afternoon. And track starting state 30% in terms of how much rubber was on the track when we started off for practice today. But just a few minutes until the green flag comes out of the racetrack. If you want to follow on board with some of your favorite drivers, Chris Purnell and Vaughn Glass will be having onboard cameras for today's race. You can see those if you go to Sox Out Racing's Facebook page and follow the Who to Watch onboard page for today's action. But of course, to really get to the next point to discuss before this green flag comes out here. It is the first time, of course, we've seen the sprint format in this series. We've already talked about a couple of the different factors here. What else do you expect from these drivers today with a different format, a new racetrack for the circuit? and a lot more challenges compared to, say, just trying to take tires, instead having to make sure they manage the tires and the fuel for the rest of the way, the entire way rather.
I think you're going to see a few people actually playing the strategic game and sitting behind people if they're not that much quicker than the car in front, and do a little bit of fuel saving like that in the draft. But they will have to look at their engine temperature and keep an eye on that in today's race because of the heat here today. But if you sat in that draft, you're also you're going to be just lifting and coasting into corners as well. So there's multiple ways of saving that fuel, and it also, in saving your fuel, you're also going to be saving your tyres as well. So I think it has a double whammy effect of that. But of course, it is a longer race, but the drivers are not experienced of it in this series, so you might just see them going all manner, going for it from the start. We'll have to wait and see.
A side note for the man starting 8th position, Paul Slavinik, apparently started up in the wrong setup for today and still managed to qualify in 8th today. We'll see if his speed improves in this round. He was almost half a tenth faster in qualifying than practice, but the driver's up in the front. It is a 1-2-3 for Radicals online today. It'll be Cammerts as the control truck today. Pataska starting off on the right side. On the left side, Cammerts. Thomas O'Leary falls behind with Blixt as the pace car rolls its way through Sunset Bend. Flag is waiting up at the stand as the pace car dives its way into the pit lane past the cones. Green flag waving at the stand. We're off and away for round number 3 at Sebring. And already 3 wide heading into turn 1. James King cutting his way to the inside and trying to move his way quickly to the top 10.
I tell you what, this is the most nervous point of the race. If you're any of these drivers, you want to keep it safe, keep it clean. And look at that, Radicals just taking out 1, 2, 3 at the start. Everyone else behaving themselves. They realise it's a longer race, and they're just all keeping it clean. This is what we like to see. And let's see how they go as they head through Big Bend.
Both the RSR esports trucks lost a lot of time going their way through Big Bend, in fact. And some of the Bombos already a battle, though, going on the inside. It's Chris Purnell behind the Radicals trucks. He makes his way up a position. Their position also gained by Slavinik on the corner exit, going through the hairpin. That moves him up to already a couple spots gained on the racetrack already today. Slavinik keeping P8, King P9 rather so far in the first couple moments.
Yeah, we've got some side-by-side action further back as well. The 42 Triple Connor Horn ahead of Martin Skurlock. He's also got Glass as well behind. So these trucks are all pretty close at the start here as they all try to just settle themselves down, and stop themselves getting involved in anything. And Matt Capel struggling to get past Stephen Dager Jr.
He's already gained a couple spots. Capel has he did have a moment at the penalty where he had to start from the pits essentially. I'm surprised that wasn't indeed the case. We will clarify that with race control. That if you reach the 11 safety points, you're prohibited from qualifying, must start the race from the pit lane. Did make the starting grid. We'll find out more information to clarify on that for him. But the Radicals online trucks have already pulled to about a 4 or 5 truck length advantage as they come around to the front stretch to lead their first lap. It's Cammerts, Pataska, O'Leary, the top 3 as they come across the stripe.
Yeah, great action from them as random TV picture there, but there you go, the 3 of them in shot right now. They're out front, but they won't be keeping it.
Hold on 1 second. Chase Berry right at the back of the field in his debut lost control of his back tires. He is way off the pace because of that spin. Might have damaged a little bit of the splitter too. Just a tiny touch as you see him lose control at a sunset.
Yeah, went around there, and that'll be a nightmare for him. He won't want that. Martin Skurlock is stopped. He's had an issue as well. So we'll have to bring that up on replay now. So drivers now getting a little bit, keeping us busy, at least, as he just lost control. He was offline there, doesn't touch any of the barrier. So that's good to see. So he should be fine without any damage at the moment. Eric Blixt, he's really challenging Chris Purnell into the right-hander on the brakes. Just not able to make any moves. And Purnell actually, slight damage to the rear of his truck.
Yeah, that was it from the first lap of the race from those close quarter battles. Remember, Purnell had got a pass done on Blixt. That was from contact heading to the first time of the race today into the hairpin. So it looks like Blixt wants to try and fight for that position back after being passed very early in this race.
Oh, he's trying hard. He's getting to the back of that Illusion Motorsport truck in his Lempulse Racing truck, and look at the speed he's able to carry through them on there. Get the run out the corner. Down the straight, they're almost rubbing door panels there as they go down the straight here, the Allman Straight into Sunset Bend. Onto the brakes. Now you can't, this is a corner of 1,000 lines, and you can take multiple lines through here, and it's mainly you want to get the run out the corner to get the run down the pit straight. But look at the gap that the three leaders are pulling out already, 2.5 seconds ahead of Blixt.
Yeah, that's a dominating pace. The time's coming in from the first full lap around 2:04 for all the Radical trucks, within 0.2 of a second for them. The next driver's a full second off the pace. That is a major difference in team speed so far today. The top, all the same drivers, all the same team rather, faster than every other team so far, as Smith has already ducked it into the pits, it looks like, in the 70 truck.
Yeah, this is too early for a planned pit stop, so obviously something's happened for Smith, and he's on pit road, so he's going to have a long old day here if he's going to get anything out of this race. Looking further back, Paul Slavinik and James King, they're still battling away out the hairpin, as well as the trucks behind as well. Connor Horn, Dennis Sola, and Vauclaise as well. As Doc Stout and Matt Capel now. Capel's moving his way through the field, and Stout is his next target here.
Yeah, he's already gained. Capel has +5 since the start of the race, making +6 with the pass towards the inside line. So he's starting to move. Doc Stout, meanwhile, he was saving a little bit, has had a, as we're talking about, a bit more conservative setup at sea, where he isn't going towards, yes, he isn't going towards the maximum RPM downshift, but it is helping the tires a bit, as it looks like an RSR truck not going to get some help. They were in the grass in the backdrop.
Yeah, so these drivers, they are struggling. Chase Barry is way behind after that spin earlier on, and he's having a few issues today, but he's still running in 19th. But now everybody's knowing what they've got underneath them, and let's see what they can do in terms of lap times. I'd be interested to know, by the way, if there's any team orders in the Radicals Online team, because the three of them at the front, they're 4 laps into this race, and they're staying line astern as it is at the moment.
Yeah, right now no one really pushing each other, or in terms of trying to pass. They've all just worked in a single file line. Eric Blixt was actually the fastest truck that time, though. Now that he's gotten away from Purnell, so things are getting a little dicey in some other parts of the field, though. Danny Solo, Vaughn Glass, they're battling now for the 10th spot on the racetrack, separated by 4/10. But of course, as you can tell, that is not a big distance in terms of that small of a time.
Yeah, but the better run from Solo out of the left-hander onto the brakes though for the hairpin. Let's see who's better. Solo just seems to get the better run through the hairpin, and seems to do well there. Glace just spinning up the rear tyres there while we're on board with him. So that's not ideal for this race, especially with the temperatures we've been talking about. Another thing that we haven't mentioned really is the Hard Charger Award. We haven't touched on that at all.
Yeah, there are a couple drivers already that could be potentially eligible for that we've already seen some giant moves. The Hard Charger Award, compared to 2018 to 2019, for those that don't know, no longer goes to the fan vote for the season. However, it is the greatest positive change in the position over the course of the race, and who finishes in the top 10 that is awarded $5 US in iRacing credits. For example, let's say a driver starts at the front, but they end up losing a ton of spots. If they say recover those positions back by the end of the race, that puts them in the potential spot to earn the Hard Charger award. Last week, it was Tom O'Leary, because Tom O'Leary, if you think back, started up towards the front, went back to the low teens in the field, charged his way back up to that top 5 battle that we seen at the end of the race before being awarded the Hard Charger award for round number 2 here, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was well deserved as well for Thomas. He was absolutely on it there. But I tell you what, battle further down, it's just sort of just settling down now, I feel. I think that the drivers have got their heads into this as a longer race. The closest battle on track is this one further down. It's Roger Gregory, Stephen Dagger Jr., Aspen Belvin and Martin Skurlock as well, all battling out for the 14th place of Doc Stout.
Michael Skurlock, but either way, some of these drivers that actually struggled in qualifying were some of the biggest incident points in qualifying. Aspen Belvin, he was the last driver qualifying, recorded a 2-minute 20 time, had a bobble and just lost the position to Skurlock. Dagger Jr. had troubles. Gregory crashed on his first attempt. Stout was the actual first driver to record a lap time on the hottest track condition of the entire qualifying session, as they still keep on bundled up.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Roger Gregory, he's trying to make some money moves here on Doc Stout. Onto the brakes, not going to be close enough to make a move into the right-hander here, but he's starting to put the pressure on.
Yeah, you can see the difference in lines as well in the corner exit that time. Gregory trying to find his way around, started 16th, only a +1 in positions. And his fastest lap was last time by as he sends it in aggressive in the brakes once more. But that could open up the door for Dagger Jr. towards his back bumper. Him and Skurlock went earlier on the brakes for a faster exit. They're lined up by 1 truck length apiece as Dagger Jr. really checks them up behind the man you fall on board.
Yeah, we're looking behind here and you can see just that queue of trucks behind. And it just seems that Gregory is stronger in some parts of the track. Oh, back end nearly kicking out there on him. But he seems to be stronger in some parts of the track than the others. So Gregory now having to go defensive here because here comes Stephen Dagger Jr.
Let's see what Dagger Jr. decides to do. Dives to the inside, decides not to make it side-by-side. No, he will, because Gregory overruns the apex of Sunset, and they'll be side-by-side heading into turn number 1. It's the quarter of many lines, but that time it looked like Gregory nearly overshot Sunset, but he's still on the preferred line heading into turn 1. Dagger Jr., though, on the preferred exit position as Gregory gets squeezed, and Gregory loses 1 spot.
This is great action. Absolutely great action. Here comes Skurlock now. He wants to get involved in this battle, and he's going to come up alongside Gregory, trying to go around the outside. Brilliant stuff there from Skurlock. Gets it on the curb on the outside, but manages to hold on to the spot. Brilliant stuff there from Michael Skurlock.
And I think Gregory in that position too thought, why should I go side by side heading into one of the tightest parts of the racetrack? May as well. Know he's a bit of a faster truck. Let him on go as Gregory struggles a bit on the corner exit, a hairpin once more. He's now stuck in a battle with Belvin up front though. Skurlock, last time by was in P17. He moves up to P15 in half a racetrack. Able to outbrake on the outside, Dagger Jr.
Yeah, great stuff. Oh dear, Dagger Jr. Will he keep it out the wall? Yes, he will. Well done, Sunshine. That's great truck control. We'll have a look back at that one from on board here on the roll bar. And wow, that was heart in mouth stuff there for Dagger Jr. And you see, he gets on the power. The truck just kicks out. Oh, he goes drifting across the grass and carries on well held.
And Dagger Jr., one of the 2 drivers who originally were eliminated in pre-qualifying, however, with the VRS Championship today, were moved into the race today. And both of those drivers having some ups and downs so far. Let's go up towards where some of the Go Team racing drivers are. Danny Solo, as well as Connor Horn. Vaughn Glace, though, is amongst the battle still. They're still trying to battle hard for that top 10 spot as Horn pulls away from the both of them.
Yeah, it's looking really good for Horn. He knows that Solo is getting concentrating on the truck behind, so he's not going to be putting the pressure on Horn. And look at that, up over the curb, and oh, the teammates side by side. Where did that truck come from?
And Horn loses one spot rather with the side-by-side after he overshot the corner, breaking in and hitting the grass into turn 3. And now he'll have to try and play defensive mode again now with Glace now.
Oh my goodness.
Big time slips by 2 different trucks. The teammates go 3 wide, and Glace says thank you very much. He moves up to P number 9.
That is incredible stuff. We'll have a look at this from on board then. From on board Glace, you can see Connor Horn in front, get on the brakes, and you'll see Danny Solo get sideways, and then this teammate gets sideways as well. It basically has followed him through.
Yeah, they followed the exact same braking mark, I think, there, and it messed both of them up to the point where they nearly both followed each other into the grass. That was a great save from both of them, but Horn, I think, might have overshot his tires more than Solo in that one. But as that's been going on, it's been the Radicals Online podium sweep at the moment. 1.5 second difference between the 3. Next driver back to Thomas O'Leary, the last of these 3 trucks. 5 seconds last time by.
Yeah, it's incredible. The dominance that this team has been showing in the start of this season. They've really put their minds to this championship, and they've really gone for it. Now, do remember, they are actually 2 different teams here. We have got Radicals Online JRT and Radicals Online Turn Racing, as we've got the battling still going on for 10. Danny Solo's wiping out a load of cones, but look at Connor Horn down the inside of Sunset Bend.
Yeah, Glace had the big run down the Ullman Straight, but as you can tell, outbraked himself essentially. Connor Horn able to get the position back. He's up to 9th. Solo's the 1 in 11 spot of the Go Team Racing trucks at the moment. And as this is all going on, Andrew Caron is slowly closing in. Pit window is open on the racetrack. Again, drivers must pit by lap 20. Of course, they have to come in for fuel regardless, as Glace has a bad corner.
Yeah, and Solo's looking to take advantage of this. Of course, Danny came into the series last season, and he's been getting used to the trucks and getting used to how they feel and how they run. But certainly giving it a good go as more sideways in front of them. Glace this time, and Solo just can't quite take advantage. Oh, sideways there for Glace. He's back up and running. But here comes Karen now, the teammate of Glace, to come through. So Solo has lost a position again after gaining 1, and Kapal is joining the back of this lot now.
Where did Kapal come from all of a sudden? +7 now in the racetrack. Kapal has been running the 207s. That puts him in the top 5 in times. As you look at the race replay from Glace, you see the overshoot of the exit of the hairpin, and then just lost the back end.
Yeah, no contact. That was good, nice and clean. I thought there might have been a little touch there, but no, all kept it clean there, and they're able to keep going. But now it's Karen running wide there into Le Mans. And they're really struggling to get these trucks stopped and turned on this track here today. I know we've been emphasising the heat of the track here, but it is really having a massive effect on these trucks. Normally, in one of these races, they've been looking to pit roundabout now, but it's still a long way to go in this one yet.
Indeed it is right now. Some drivers, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see drivers come around to lap 13, split the race in the middle, be able to take their fuel and go in from there. That is around the time I expect a lot of these trucks to come in. But as you follow along with the 64 truck of Kapal, I want to ask you about the braking situation, because we're starting to see these drivers try and overshoot some of these corners. Do you think it's something with the brake bias, or something in terms of how these drivers are attacking these corners where they're overdriving it a little bit and outbraking themselves?
I think there's an element of overdriving that's going on. Oh dear, I've just noticed my timing screen. Michael Skurlock has had a spin, and this is turn 1, isn't it?
Yes, it is. He was running in 14th and ended up another braking situation. If we go a little bit earlier, you will see Skurlock against the wall in the entrance of turn number 1, and just lost the entire back side of the tires in the braking. Just shot hard towards the right, losing the back end.
The pit wall jots out a little bit there. He's just carried a little bit too much speed.
Yeah, right,
there.
that bobble.
Yeah.
Didn't hit the wall, but that bobble, you can see. I think he might have actually hit the brakes a bit too hard. It caused the bobble and just couldn't save it, maybe.
Potentially. That could well be it, as Capal on solo now. And it's been a lot of Matt Capel coming through the field, and it's going to be another position here round the outside. Great driving from Matt Capel. He really is going for the Hard Charger Award here, and he's living up to his name as well.
Currently, he is +8 on the racetrack now. So he has cut through a majority of the drivers. We do have a DNF on the racetrack. Aaron Smith II is done for the day. Remember, he pit on lap 2 of this event before pulling into the garage area in the past couple of moments. Let's move up towards the front, though. Battle going on for 6. Clifton Cockrell's been holding on to James Kane for much of this time, but Kane wants the spot. Paul Slavinik also watching as Kane outbrakes him on the outside. Slavinik also wants to try and pass by Cockrell as he takes the corner entry too tight. They stay side by side heading to turn number 3 as Slavinik is able to hold on towards him and is not able, in fact, is able to get the job done. Cockrell nearly hit the back end, did in fact damage the right front.
Yeah, just the slightest of touches, but running wide there with Slavinik, and that's allowed Cockrell to go back through there. So Clifton is not done with that one. He wants to hang on to at least 7th place here in this race, but Paul is on a charge here, and as you mentioned, picked the wrong setup for qualifying, didn't do a bad job. Let's hope the right setup is working well for him here today.
Now last time at 2:08. The update essentially from Aaron Smith on his DNF, as he has just told his fellow drivers, had a 16-second penalty on the first lap. That is why he came down to the pits, as you see the battle side by side, and mentioned that there's the learning curve for Barber. So that is why he came down on the first lap of the race today, and what ended up derailing the number 70 machine's race overall, is Slavinik still fighting hard with Cockrell, Paul.
Yeah, certainly is. He's giving it everything. I'm also keeping an eye on our timing screen, because the lead battle is just under 0.4 of a second between the two of them. So those two definitely are, there's no team orders there. They're going to be pushing for a win here. Oh, Slavinik taking the tighter line into Le Mans. Not the most ideal one, because you need to get the wide entry to get the run out of the corner, and that's not what happened there. Also behind them, about 7 seconds behind them, Connor Horn. He is coming under pressure, actually, as we'll look back to them now into Sunset Bend, and he's got pressure from Andrew Karen behind.
Indeed he has. They nearly made contact, actually, heading towards Le Mans. That's how close they've been starting to get, even more so with this battle. So Horn's continuing to feel like more and more pressure towards his back bumper.
Pit road, Danny Solo.
And that's our first pit stop.
Yeah, that's early.
Really early pit stop. That could be potentially up maybe towards 3, 4, 5, 6 lap undercut on some of these drivers now for Solo, but this might be something maybe to try and gain track position. They've already lost about a second a lap. Actually, yeah, indeed, second a lap, these drivers, since they started the race today, entire fall off in these first few laps.
Yeah, so you're seeing how these tyres are really feeling the effect of these conditions here today. Plus a long track as well. It's a long, abrasive, bumpy track, and these drivers are just having to manage things. Look at the movement of the 27 of Andrew Karen, and he's got a good run out of the hairpin there. Not able to get up alongside Horn for the time being, but certainly putting the pressure on, because here behind them, Matt Capel, he's coming to join this party.
Both of them slipping around a little bit as Karen keeps in the back tires of Horn. That time off the curbs, though, goes Karen, as he's able to keep the truck straight. Still have Capel, though, trying to provide pressure behind, who's been on an absolute tear.
Look at the drifting. It's not the fastest way around the track, I can tell you, but it's spectacular if nothing else. But I think those rear tyres will be starting to cry foul now on that 27 truck.
As that's been all going on, Michael Skorlock in and out of his pit stall for the second driver to pit today. Roger Gregory also slamming into the wall in live action at the 18th spot last time by and just destroying his truck. So Gregory's rough day continues for him, but the battles continue on as you'll see what happened to Gregory's truck.
Yeah, we'll just look back at this one quickly then. Hits the curb. Oh, that unsettles the rear. Oh, there's nothing you could do about that. He's almost a passenger at that point, and that's heartbreaking to see. Hopefully the truck's not too damaged. He can head onto pit road and just get a quick repair done to that.
Let's go back to that battle, though, for ninth now, because you've got Horn that's shown flashes of speed so far in the rounds that he's competed in. You've got Karen that's looking to have his strongest run so far this season. And you've got Kapal, who had to start from shotgun on the field. That is setting some of the fast paces as you look on board him. If you're some of these drivers, when do you decide to come in to try and undercut these fellow drivers to gain that set position? Because right now, you're heading to the halfway point of the race, just in about the next lap and a half.
I think realistically you want to try and get as far into the second half of the race before you make that pit stop, because you will have so much more advantage in the second half of the race. As Karen, look at that, almost out of control there. Kapal's got a run here. Good grief. Well, the car control was absolutely excellent there. Kapal makes it through, but oh, does he? Because he loses the back end as well.
They slide around a little bit, able to keep it going as Karen on the outside line as he gets the pass back undone. As they head their way into turn number 13 to the tower corner. Kapal bounces his way around on the corner exit. Able to keep it stable, both the trucks now, as a lot of wheel hopping starting to go on for both of these drivers as Horn now pulls away because of these two battling.
That's a great point you make there. They're slowing each other down here with all this battling, and it is showing, but I think Karen is feeling that the effects of these tyres a lot worse than Kapal at the moment, because he saw how difficult he was finding it to keep control of his truck. Just got a quick look to the front, because look at Pataska now. 2 to 3 tenths of a second between him and your race leader Sven Kamatz.
James King also into the pits at the same time. Slavinik will jump up a few spots because Cockrell also jumped into the pits this time by. But getting to that battle with Pataska that we've been seeing now. Pataska, a couple laps ago, nearly dived to the inside of his teammate in Cameras. He's looking like he's the faster truck now. Last time by, he set just about a 5/100th of a second quicker lap time. I think right now maybe he's thinking, I know him quicker. This may be a setup that Cameras was a big part of helping as they nearly run into lap traffic. But he knows that he's been the more dominant driver overall, especially in the long run. It looks like he wants to try and take that lead now.
Yeah, he's wanting to try and get the position and get it now. As I say, they're in two separate teams, even though they're both Radicals drivers.
Yes.
The Sven Kamatz is in the Radicals Online Turn Racing, whereas Dallas Pataska is in the Radicals Online JRT team. So two separate teams here. So there'll be an element of respect on track, but they're still competing to win the championship.
Chase Berry pit that time by. But the reason I bring up Cameras helping with the setup, if you've remembered from the past couple interviews, it's been Cameras that's been essentially one of the main setup builders for these trucks for both of those teams so far. And we're seeing the speed from that so far. As you look back to the 27 truck, Andrew Karen, amongst the drivers that still have to pit so far, a total of 6 trucks have come down the lane as Karen has been able to reel back in Horn along with Kapal.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you don't battle, and here comes Pataska and O'Leary, so Kamatz is going to go at least 1 lap longer, your race leader, on those tyres. That could be crucial towards the end of the race here, but Pataska trying to get an undercut here and get fresh rubber.
Yes, multiple drivers coming in. Both the teammates, they're stopping their stalls. Chris Purnell also coming in. Paul Slavinik also driving his way into the pit lane. Andrew Karen in the backdrop is diving his way in and will spin his way just past the cones and avoid the battle going on, as you see just past the pit lane. Monica Paul backed out of that battle as they came in as well. as that will be some of the drivers coming in, as O'Leary and Pataska will still come out just in the middle of all this.
Oh, O'Leary's come off worse out of that as well, because he's come out between Horn and also Karen, sorry, should I say. And that's cost him a little bit of time in his efforts to try and keep with Pataska. He had a quicker pit stop by a second, so really that's not ideal for your number 10, Thomas O'Leary.
Dager Jr. also coming in this time by Glaze Belvin amongst the drivers as well. As you see, the two battles still battling for overall position that still have to come in. Horn and Karen, remember, they still cannot make it on fuel, these drivers, because of the longer format. The debut of a sprint race in the V8 SuperTrucks Championship, different compared to a super sprint, where you must take the fuel to be able to get to the finish. As you see them battle back and forth still a little bit. They're amongst the final 6 trucks, 5 I should rather say. Let's read off all the numbers, why don't we, that still need to come in. Amongst them is Cammers. Will he come in this time by in the 66 truck? Yes, he is.
Okay, he needs a really good pit stop, and he was hard onto the brakes there. We're going to bring up the track map here. So you'll see in the bottom right hand corner, the number 19 is Dallas Pataska. He was the person who was in second place when he came in on that last lap. Let's see how we can do with Sven Kemmerts. Of course, new fresh rubber, new Goodyears on this truck. There will also be some more fuel going on board as well with them. He's still stationary. He's still on pit road. You can look down. You can see Pataska coming down pit road and down the pit straight. Here comes Sven Kemmerts. I believe they're going to switch position here as they're coming into turn number 1. And it's Pataska with the undercut making it work, but Kemmerts with fresher tyres.
One lap difference. That time by, it was Pataska setting one of his faster lap times so far. Horn has come in this time by, but the overall points leader coming into today, Dallas Pataska, takes the race lead for the first time today via pit strategy. There are 2 drivers, though, that still have to make sure they don't run out of gas on the course. Eric Blixt and Andrew Karen. Remember, the first undercut driver came on lap number 10. That is a 16-lap run that Eric Blixt is trying to make on fuel.
Yeah, look at this. He's got 12 laps remaining in this race. He's out at front at the moment, is Blixt, and he's giving it absolutely everything. He's leaving nothing to chance here, pushing it to the end of this stint. He might as well abuse his tyres if he's due to come in on this lap, because you're going to get rid of them anyway, so you might as well get every last bit of performance out of them whilst you can. But we've seen the drop off of the tyre performance here today, and look at that on the power, just can't get the power down, and still carrying on. Further down your order, by the way, Clifton Cockrell coming under pressure from Paul Slavinik as well.
Indeed, let's go back to that for the fall off. Just to compare with Blixt, he's 3 seconds off his fastest lap time. Drivers like Pataska, Cammers, and O'Leary were just about 1.5 seconds off. Kane amongst the drivers that pit a little bit earlier than Purnell, so a slight bit older tires for the man trying to go on the attack. However, Purnell has been really under pressure much of this race today in the Illusion Motorsport machine.
Yeah, he has. James King has been the one putting the pressure on him as we keep on looking at that battle between Slavinik and Cockrell. Eric Blixt is on pit road at the moment, so we should see where he comes out. Meanwhile, Dallas Pataska, new fastest lap, 2:04.293.
And this is the first time he's had clean air the entire race today. And I think Thomas O'Leary just topped him. Yes, Thomas O'Leary just set a 2:04.183 this time by as well. He's about 7 or 8 truck lengths behind his two corporate teammates, to be specific, on the racetrack. So O'Leary's starting to find some speed now, as they are still what is a big distance, 16 seconds back to 4th where Blixt is at.
Yeah, Blixt has been in and has come out, and he's on his own really. As you mentioned, he is 15, 16 seconds behind these leading trucks, but he's about 5.5 seconds ahead of Chris Pennell as well, so it's been going well for Blitz really, but not well enough that he'd be battling for that lead, that podium finisher. So I think all he needs to do really is just concentrate on himself and get to the end of this race and hope that somebody in front makes a mistake, or even worse, teammates get involved in a little bit of shenanigans.
You see those two of those teammates, rather, staying up at the front right now, separated by about just under 3 tenths now on a much better run heading into Le Mans by Camert. But you can tell Pataska a little bit more confident on the corner exit now that he's got some clean air to be able to pull away. No truck in front to worry about hitting the back of especially a corporate teammate now. They separate themselves by about 3-4 truck lengths. The draft doesn't even kick in right about towards the braking zone for these two drivers as they head into sunset this time and go under the bridge. Yeah, end of the lap once again.
Get on the power, nice and clean and smooth on the power there as well for Camert as they go across the line. And Sven Camert, look at that lap time, 2:03.970.
And he does have the fresher tires than Pataska. 10 laps to go. This could be interesting. The fastest lap we have seen all day today. Even faster than practice. In fact, just around that same ballpark, I should rather say. Track temp has dropped off. Glace has spun around.
Try and find what's happened here for him. He's not been having a fun time of it out there. So let's have a look then, and it's going to be this right-hander. I guess it's going to be on the exit of this right-hander then. Getting on the power perhaps. And yeah, just around she goes into the grass, gets on the brake so he doesn't take out anybody. Good heads-up thinking from Glace, but unfortunately for him, dropped down to 17th, but is right on the tail of Dacre Jr.
Yeah, he still has a chance to try and gain some spots. Remember, Dacre Jr. has been having an up and down day himself. Before that spin, last time by, Glace was about a second quicker per lap in terms of pace compared to the 63 truck that he's trying to keep up with. As Dacre Jr. nearly hits the inside barrier on his corner entry, takes the exit wide. Glace takes it tight, actually squeals the tires a tiny touch, and has the better run heading in out to the front stretch to try and make the pass for position. As he gains one position back after his spin, he's up to 16th.
Yep, nicely through down the inside, made the most of that corner exit, got the better run. Was able to get on the power earlier as well. We're going to look to the front here because look at this lead battle. Camert, he wants that lead.
Pataska breaks a touch bit later this time compared to Camert. Nearly loses the back end this time through sunset. The faster driver has been the one who's been able to take the tighter apex and exit, it seems, so far today here at Sebring. As Camert goes by the start and finish line along with Pataska, 9 laps to go. Camert still falling in the tire tracks, trying to find a way around his corporate teammate. As they head down to the corner exit once again out of turn number 1, they're separated by just a couple of tenths as they head into turn number 3. What can Camert do to try and make a pass, try and pressure his teammate, knowing this is some of the biggest pressure he's felt this entire season so far in the 19 truck?
I'll tell you what, this is yeah, you bang on the money there. This is the most pressure that Pataska has had to face this season. And look at that, Camert's just braking that little bit later into the right-hander there. And yeah, Camert's really has been giving him the ringer here. And Camert's, remember, did qualify in pole position, so we know he's got the pace in this truck as well.
Remember Glace, remember he gained a spot on Dacre Jr. Well, he just lost that both the spots he had gained on back essentially from that spin, because just a few minutes ago he hit the tire barrier, is back and up and running, avoided damage however to the truck, so just stopped it before providing significant damage, but he is all the way back in 18th in what is now a disaster second half of his race today.
Try and take that back a little bit further. There we go. It's in the same corner as well as the last time, and it just kicks around, just glances against the wall. No real damage done there, so he's fine and still running.
Glace gives that wall a glance that time. The drivers in front also looking to try and give a glance at a position battle. It's Slavinik trying to fight for 7th still on Clifton Cockrell, as they are separated again by just under 0.4 of a second. These two have been fighting like cats and dogs since they both came out of the pits, essentially.
Why can't cats and dogs just get along? It's the eternal fight. But anyway, these two certainly have been going at it at each other's throats like that, and it's been respectful driving though. It's been real close, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go back to that race lead battle because now it's less than 0.2 across the line.
Last time by, they were near dead even in time. 6/1000 of a second separating the two. 8 laps to decide who will come away with the win as Kammert's late brakes compared to Pataska heading into turn 3. But again, dead even in terms of the entries. Look at the back bumper as Kammert's is just matching them toe for toe, tick for tack, in every single entry and exit, it seems, on the racetrack as they head their way to toward the hairpin.
Yeah, this is where you're going to see that braking. Look at how close Kammert's gets. A little bit of squirreling under that braking effort as well. Oh, a little bit of kick out there as well for Pataska. So it's not all play sailing here for these drivers. At the front, they are pushing each other to the
trouble. Paul
edge.
Slavinik just went off the racetrack, hitting the Armco barrier on the right side, heading into turn number 3. He'll lose at least 1 position as he lost control, heading into the turn number 3 off the corner exit.
Yeah, we're just having a look at that back now for you. Oh, wow! He locks the rears, it looks like, on the downshift. I wonder if he snatched the wrong gear.
That had to be a money shift or something there. Yeah, that was exactly what happened, I think. Might have downshifted instead of upshifted. Shot the truck to the right. He's lucky he didn't blow the motor on that, too.
Yeah, he really is. He's fortunate with that one. And managed to keep it relatively clean as well. So he's dropped 1 position to 9th place. Oh, Roger Gregory is the only the 2nd retirement in this race. But he's decided to pull that truck over into the pits. His day is done here.
Yes, that was in the past lap or so. Pataska, though, this time by, dealing with Kammert's diving to the inside line, coming to 7 laps to go. They are nearly side by side, but Pataska shuts the door as they cross the start and finish line. 7 to go here at Sebring International Raceway for the Sox Out Racing V8 SuperTrucks Championship. Can Pataska win 3 in a row? Can Kammert's try and get his first victory? We'll have to see as your biggest movers are on your screen, and some big oof moments as Kapal is the biggest mover.
Yeah, Kapal is the biggest mover in your field here, but Kammert's there getting really sideways, looking to not lose the backhand there, and able to keep the truck on the track. That's just the first sign of maybe him really pushing it to its limits. As we're on board with him now, you can see the steering inputs from him. He's having to be smooth with it. You can hear it on the upshifts as well.
And look at the sky, too. The clouds are starting to come in. The track temperature is going to start dropping even more, so this might actually play into Kammert's hands even more with the fresher tires. Colder track means more grip. That time, Kammert's did not have much grip.
Yeah, currently the track temperature, by the way, 97 degrees Fahrenheit, considering that we started this race at about 108, wasn't it, at the start of the race. So, big difference in the track temperature as we've gone along through here, and that's going to help these drivers manage these tyres as, look at that, Pataska's just been pulling away these last few corners.
Yeah, because Kammert's been slipping and sliding his way through the entire sector 2 of the racetrack. Correct you there, 108 for qualifying.
Oh, that was it, yeah.
It was 104 for the race today. And the track temp down to its coldest point of the day, 96 degrees, heading to 6 laps to go. Heading down the Ullman straight once more. Kammert's has been attacking very aggressively to the inside of Sunset the past couple laps. This time, tries to take a higher arc to apex off the corner. Pataska able to predict it this time to be able to get the block on the corner exit.
Oh, this is great action at the front here. This is what we wanted to see. This is what we've waited to see all season, is Pataska be put under pressure, because so far in the season, apart from the first few laps of the last race at Phillip Island, where he was behind Bobby Zelensky, here he's been under pressure from the start. He was in second place until the pit stops, and now Pataska is getting to really test his teeth against one of the best drivers in the series in Kamats.
Can Cameron's try and make an attack, though? This time they head into the hairpin. He hasn't been taking an aggressive whatsoever. They both actually braked at the same time again. And a tighter apex for Pataska, wider exit for Camerts, leads to a slightly better run off by Pataska this time. That's something we've been seeing different lines by these drivers and these teams all over the racetrack today. And it seems right now, Camerts taking some corners more aggressively to the inside. Pataska taking some of the corners more conservatively as Camerts approaching his more aggressive part of the racetrack.
Yep, really pushing that truck now, really getting onto the back of Pataska now. Pataska 7 laps on these tyres, Sven 6 laps on these tyres. So only a lap's difference between them entire length, but it's going to be how they use those tyres is going to be crucial as well. So out the Le Mans corner, down the Almond Straight, they've got a little bit of lap traffic ahead of them as well. So hopefully that won't come into play here. That's Von Glace who's in front of them. Should stay out of the way though, as these two now different lines once again. And look at Kamats now taking that tighter line.
Camerts doesn't touch the grass that time. Can't get the run off, though, as they still say about the same distance. Glace now about 15, 20 truck lengths in front. 5 to go. A high five from the flag stand as Pataska tries to defend the inside right to the wall this time through turn number 1. They head now once again towards turn 3, 4, and 5 as it looks like Pataska is still trying to play the aggressive defense. They're going to catch Glace, though it looks like potentially this time, if not next time by.
Yeah, that could come into play depending on where they catch them as well. This is the closest battle on track. There is a battle for 10th place, but there's a second between them. Andrew Curran staying ahead of Connor Horn in that one, so we'll keep an eye on that on the timing screen.
Actually, that battle, I should say, I'm just looking back at it. Heading into Cunningham, Horn lost that spot you were talking about because he went sideways, and now Karen is nearly sideways and potentially could give Horn that position on back. So it looks like a couple very tight battles on both sides of the racetrack right now.
Yeah, great stuff. This is wonderful. This is why we love this series. It is just always really good close battle. It doesn't matter if it's at the front of the field or if it's in the midfield. It's still brilliant action. But we'll take the coverage just back to the front of the field because we're getting towards the Almond Straight, and that's where Sven has really been the strongest, coming off of Le Mans corner onto the Almond Straight.
Again, Pataska still holding on, heading to Le Mans Straight, coming out of Le Mans rather to the Almond Straight. As they head down the straightaway, he does have maybe a slight touch of draft though from Glace. They didn't reach him quite yet. He is about 15 truck lengths just under that mark. So let's see if this affects the corner this time. Much more aggressive braking compared to the lap traffic. Camerts and Pataska bring that down to just under 10 truck lengths as the tire starts to go off in front. 4 laps to go this time by.
Oh, and that's good thinking from Glace. Sees that the leaders are coming up, so gets well out the way. That's great heads-up driving from Vaughan there, and congratulate him on that. He doesn't want to get involved in this battle, and that's great driving to see that in this series. Look at Sven looking dangerously. He wants by now.
As that was going on, just a quick update on that battle for the 10th spot. Horn just took it back after Karen went off into the grass as they've continued to go back and forth. We stick with the race lead though. About 3.5 laps to go this time by as these two team drivers, these two corporate teammates rather, look to try and get the W. They have pulled away from their teammate, their corporate teammate, and Thomas O'Leary as they both nearly bounced their way through the hairpin. As Pataska still defends their fastest lap times in the same ballpark as each other.
It's amazing how even these two are as they head into the right-hander once again. You've got to be so patient with your throttle through this section of track. It's so easy to lose control here. get on the power and then brake. You're still going to be turning whilst you're braking. Get that apex, get on the power. Pataska and Kamatz now starting to squirrel under power application, so obviously these two are starting to struggle with their tyres, and this is where we're going to see whether that strategy of pitting one lap later was worked out for Sven Kamatz.
We might not see until maybe the final 2 laps, maybe the final lap in fact, with the difference as Kamatz bounces his way around the rumble strips. Now lose him maybe about half a temp down the straight. That was a bit costly that time.
Yeah, that's a mistake. That's not going to help him. We were talking about other close battles on track. We'll keep an eye on this for the time being as we go through turn Sunset Bend. Once again, as it's going to start 3 to go this time by, but I'm going to take our attention just quickly back to Martin Kapal, the man who's on this one-man charge through the field to get the Hard Charger Award, and he's now on the back of Clifton Cockrell.
And this again, this has been closing in quickly. Cockrell holds up Kapal though this time. Was that a potential off-track penalty there? You can't go and take 4 tires above that white line. He did in fact do that. That doesn't push him across the incident limit though today, as Cockrell's actually been the cleanest driver of the race. That would technically be his first incident points of the race today, as he still holds on to 7th.
Yeah, look at that though. Kapal, he's on 1 lap younger tyres as Kapal than Cockrell. He's had the pace of a lot of drivers here today. And is he going to look to the inside of turn 1? No, he isn't. He's going to hold that line for the time being.
3 laps to go this time by leaders with 2.5 laps to go as we stick with this real quickly because Kapal has the run, again has to brake early. Cockrell much more early on the brakes than Kapal seems to like in the Lempal's racing truck. Has nearly rear-ended him twice in the past lap, half a lap.
Yeah, this is close stuff between these two. It's close stuff between your leaders as well. We'll take you back to that battle in just a moment. We'll look down into the hairpin. Kapal not going to make the move here. So we'll quickly bring your attention back to your race lead battle then. And it's still Pataska out front, but only by 0.3 of a second. And he's giving that draft away once again.
Coming to 2 laps to go this time by Pataska. Again moves his way down the Omen straight. Kamatz trying to follow as they charge their way into Sunset. Lap traffic is ahead at Stephen Dager Jr. There is the chance they might reach him in the white flag lap as they head to 2 to go this time by. They'll get the peace sign at the flagstead here at Sebring as Pataska again leads this time by. The faster driver though was Kamatz last time by 1/10 and a half to close up the gap as they head back to turn 1.
It's really intriguing. It's great stuff. It's great to see the pressure being put on them as well, because these two are driving these trucks to the limit and sometimes beyond, aren't they? They really are pushing themselves and these trucks.
And this is a question I didn't think I would ask so far in the early part of the season. What do you think Kamatz say if he has a chance, give say a little bump and run or the chrome horn to try and take the lead and the win away, or do you see him keeping this race clean and keep trying to minimize any type of contact rather for this race as the battle for Kapal goes back and forth?
Yeah, Kapal almost out of control through the exit Sunset Bend as they're going into turn 1. Wide line for Kapal. He's not going to hold that position though. He's going to try and get the cutback, and that's worked perfectly for Matt Kapal because he's going to have the inside line to the left-hander here, and finally he makes his way past Clifton Cockrell for 7th place in this race.
Next truck ahead is not another 8 seconds ahead, so he might finish off in 7th plus 12 today. Leaders have just passed the lap traffic, however, Kamatz didn't get as good of a run that time, heading through Collier, passing the lap traffic, because in part from the position along the outside line, was able to close it back up though with some late braking through Bishop. Coming down towards the white flag this time, under a lap and a half to go for round number 3 of the V8 SuperTrucks World Championship here at Sebring. Can Cameron try and pass for the race lead? Can he try and get it back as Pataska wheel hops? To the inside goes Cameron. He gets the run on the inside through Sunset. The fresher tires come into play as Cameron takes the race lead. White flags up in the air of the stand.
It's not over yet, is this one, because here's Pataska looking to the inside of turn 1. He got loose through Sunset Bend. That's the opportunity that Sven's been waiting for here, and he's going to keep it clear. He's on the dirt there on the exit of 1, onto the brakes. These two fighting away. You wouldn't believe that they're at the same team. But there you go. This is what you get. Your biggest enemy is your teammate.
Pataska that time messed up Sunset so bad he was nearly 4/10 slower than the now race leader in Cameron. Can he try and get the position back though on one lap older tires? They still have about two-thirds of a racetrack to go. They head through the hairpin this time out of turn number 7. Now down Fangio into turn number 9 towards Cunningham. As Cameron again plants the power down, much more stronger than Pataska.
Look at that gap it's pulling out there. Sven, he just needs to not make a mistake here, and he should have the race victory here. What a drive it's been from both of these drivers.
Indeed it has been. Both of these drivers pulled away from the rest of the field by as much as 12 seconds from Thomas O'Leary. They still have a third of the racetrack to go. Can Cameron hold on? Can Pataska provide the pressure as they move their way now through turn number 14? Just a few more corners left as Pataska sends it in very hard, heading towards Bishop in turn 15, heading towards now in turn number 16. He takes the wider arc this time. Has the draft? Could that be a factor through Sunset's the question? Down the Ullman straight they go. Cameron's, he led the entire first half of the race. He was able to retake the race lead, heading to the white flag. He has only one more corner to work with. As Cameron's takes the hider arc, Pataska can't get to the inside, as it's going to be Sven Cameron's exiting at a turn 17. He'll take the checker flag and win round number 3 at Sebring. The first sprint race goes to Radicals Online.
Awesome performance. Absolutely brilliant. Hats off to both of those drivers. The fact that they were able to beat their teammate by 10 seconds is just testament to how good those two were. We'll look back. Eric Blix is going to come through in 4th place, but we'll look back further here because Paul Slavinik still embroiled in this battle with Clifton Cockrell. It's going down to the final turn, and Cockrell is having to just defend, and I think he's just far enough ahead to keep that position.
He reeled back in Cockrell for as much as 15 truck lanes back just a couple laps ago. Can Slavinik get that spot? He drives to the inside. Cockrell bounces his way towards the apex. They'll be side by side for P number 8, but Cockrell's able to hold on. He'll keep the 8th spot. Slavinik finishes 9th, and Connor Horn will run his way on his own for a top 10 finish with his first race with his brand new team for Go Racing behind them.
Oh, look at that exuberant exit to Sunset Bend, getting on the power and drifting it out. Speaking of drifting, Andrew Cameron into the wall. Now,
heading towards the checkered flag. Danny Solo might have a chance, but he'll come away with P11.
Wow, that was a dramatic end there. I think Solo just had an instant towards the end there as well, so because he was really wide through Sunset Bend. So he comes across the line now. I'll tell you what, it all happened. Doug Stout was still within about 0.8 of a second of Aspen Belvin, and they're going to come across the line in 14th and 15th positions. What a breathless race, Justin. I really enjoyed that race.
It was an absolute thrower today. While the leaders and Radicals Online pulled to a corporate 1-2-3, the battles were insane today, to say the least, at Sebring International Raceway. The last of the drivers go around for their cool-down lap as Sven Cameron has won his 2nd career race in the series. Let's take a look at your race results today. Your unofficial race results on your screen. Sven Cameron, as mentioned, has won his 2nd career race in a 1-2-3 for Radicals Online for their 2-team contingents. Dallas Pataska, He led much of the second half of the race after the undercut, was not able to hold on towards the white flag. Thomas O'Leary finished third, 12 seconds back. Fourth spot today was Eric Blix for Lempos Racing. Chris Parnell rounding out the top 5. James King finished 6th. Martin Kapal started 19th today officially. Came away in 7th. That was a plus 12 today. That is a potential hard charger candidate. We'll clarify to be right after this results page to see if that is indeed the case. Clifton Cockrell in 8th, Paul Slavic in 9th, and Connor Horn with his first race with his new team and Go Team Racing put on a good show. Finished off 10th today. Andrew Caron 11th despite crashing to the checker flag. With Danny Solo rounding out the top 12. Chase Berry and one of his first races of his season today came away 13th. His teammate finished off in 14th. Doc Stout came away 15th after starting 15th. Michael Scarlock, he was having a wild one to say the least today, finished in 16th spot. The drivers that finished a lap down: Stephen Dager Jr., 1 lap down. Vaughn Glaze, 2 laps down today. And your DNFs, Roger Gregory and Aaron Smith II for your 20 drivers that made the start today in the first ever sprint race in the history of the V8 SuperTrucks Championship. We'll be back right after these messages. You're watching RaceSpotTV and Socks Out Racing's Facebook feed. Welcome back, everyone, to RaceSpotTV and the Socks Out Racing Facebook feed for round number 3 of the V8 SuperTrucks Championship here at Sebring International Raceway. It was a wild first ever sprint round for the series' history, as Ben Cameron was the one who took the checker flag and what was a 1-2-3 corporate finish for Radicals Online and their 2 teams. For this round, it was the first time we've seen a winner not Dallas Pataska today. And it was the second time that Sven Cammers will go to victory lane in his V8 SuperTrucks Championship career. Sven Cammers joins us here in the RaceSpotTV booth. Sven, how does it feel to win your second career race in the V8 SuperTrucks Championship?
Pretty good. It was a very challenging race. The Sebring is definitely an easy track, but with the trucks it's something different than with Dallas' competition, who was well, on me for the entire first stint. So yeah, definitely very happy with the win, but I couldn't have done it without Dallas' help either. So.
Indeed, today talk us through some of the differences in case some people, let's say, have never driven a NASCAR truck on the circuit. How different is it compared to, say, racing a GT car to putting a NASCAR truck on what is a very tough circuit for the truck?
It requires patience, a lot more control to yourself regarding where you can brake, how early you have to brake, and how much you have to modulate the throttle. It's definitely a challenge, but it's definitely something that helps you improve your driving etiquette for other cars as well, I'd say.
Indeed, as well. And talk about the efficacy of trying to get that pass on your corporate teammate Dallas Pataska to win today's race. It came down to the second to last lap out of Sunset. Talk us through what you were thinking towards that entire second run to that moment where you're able to take the lead back and pull away.
Yeah, well, as soon as I came out of pit lane, well, Dallas pit a lap ahead, so I knew that he was going to be ahead of me, but I was on his bumper and I basically sat there for the entire stint, just watching, see where I was faster, where not. So there was a lot of planning and thinking involved to see where I had a chance or not. And from tower turn all the way up to turn 17, I felt like I had a little bit of speed on him, and well, he started making little mistakes as the stint goes on. So I just knew that he just has to make like the smallest mistake where I'm on his bumper, and then I could go for it. So as happened in the final corner, I just saw the first initial bump, and I knew it was just going to keep on drifting wide. So I just held my line on the inside, he held his line, and well, it was a good pass, I'd say.
It was definitely a good pass. Indeed, was the strongest run out of Sunset I think we've seen all day. But you're looking to try and carry that momentum, of course, to the next round. Round number 4, it's back to a super sprint format race and a new circuit for the series. It's Barber Motorsports Park in Leeds, Alabama. How do you feel about Barber?
With the normal car, again, it's a decent track with a truck. I'm not sure if all the corners will play nice. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It should definitely be, as here, an interesting race to see, and see what happens.
Who would you like to thank for being a part of your victory today here, Sven?
Well, big thank you to both my team at Dallas and Thomas for helping with testing and setup, etc. So definitely paid off today. I would also like to thank our sponsors, Cranfield Simulations, JRT, Aster Sim Race, my opinion there for Fact Podcast, Turn Racing, Simortal, Six Sideways, and big thank you as well to Pixel Dust for the brand new paints.
And thank you very much for the time. Congratulations on career win number 2 in the V8 SuperTrucks World Championship, Sven. And that was Sven Cammers from Radicals Online Turn Racing. His corporate teammate is the man who finished in second today. Dallas Pataska standing by with Paul Smith.
Yeah, so here we are, Dallas, second place. It was a really hard-fought race as well. Just talk us through that one, because you were sat on the back of your teammate all the way through that first stint, and then you pitted a lap earlier. Do you think at the end of the day those lap-older tyres had an effect towards the end, or was it just a case of that he was that little bit faster today?
Well, I think it's mainly he just had more raw pace, and than I had this week. All through testing, he's been very quick. He did a great job. He put in the most work out of both myself and Thomas. So first of all, congratulations to him. He definitely earned it. But yeah, I usually don't go for the I guess, pitting first strategy, trying to get the undercut. But I knew it was going to be really tough to get out ahead of him if we put it at the same time and he came out ahead of me, because the one advantage I did have on him during the week was tire wear. I could get the tires through the stint longer with a little bit more life, and it showed at the end of the first run, but with the 1 lap disadvantage on the second run, it didn't quite come through. But yeah, overall, I think he deserved the win more than I did, and he got it, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to him. But just talk us about how hard it was in this truck to deal with not only this track but also the heat as well from the track conditions. It was really quite warm at the start of the race. It was 104 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature to start with. Just talk us through how difficult it was to manage those tyres.
Yeah, I got no doubts that looking back after the season, this will probably be the toughest race on the schedule. It's really tough because when you go into the braking points, you don't know if it's going to stop or not. So you go on one time to turn 6 or 7, whatever the hairpin is, and you can use one marker and it's great. Next time you go through, it doesn't work. So there's always a moving target you're trying to hit, and it makes it extremely difficult because the front tires just feel like cheese after about 2 laps. So and then the heat doesn't help with that. When it cooled down at the end there, it was a little bit better, but this place, I'm a big fan of the track, but this track and truck combo is definitely one of the toughest out there.
Well, we've had your teammate give all the thanks anyway to the sponsors, but is there anyone else you want to particularly thank for today?
Well, he got all the sponsors out of the way. I'd just like to thank Sven for putting in all the work. He did a great job. I'd like to thank my other teammate Thomas for helping out when he could. He was on a bit of a limited schedule this week. But yeah, just everybody over at Radical is doing a great job. And then Sven especially for doing most of the work.
Well, Dallas, congratulations. The second place in today's race. Not a bad result to go with for the next round at Barber. Take it easy.
Thank you.
That was Dallas Pataska for Radicals Online JRT. Let's talk with someone that made his first ever series start today. He gained 7 spots from the start, finished 13th overall, had some wild moments to say the least. Chase Berry joins us here in the broadcast booth for Buck Jones Racing. Chase, talk us through how your race went, in your opinion, for your first start in the series.
It was pretty eventful. I spun it trying to be too careful on the first lap, so had to try to make up ground from then on.
How much of an adjustment period was it to try and get used to racing a NASCAR truck on a road course, especially at road courses that you never really see them go to in real life at the moment?
Oh, it was fun and a struggle at the same time. You know, me and Aspen, we worked all week trying to find a setup, and we still couldn't find it. And it was good. It was fun. It was exciting.
It definitely looked exciting at some moments for you. Talk us through some of the challenges you felt, in your opinion, because it looked like in the final couple laps you went from the 207s and fell off the table to the 211s.
Yeah, I was just cruising and just hitting my marks consistent, and then the guy in front of me started getting closer and closer. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try to go get him. And as soon as I did, I started messing up, and I couldn't get my rhythm back, and that killed me.
Indeed, right now, with Barber, though, that's the next round on the schedule. What is you and your teammates' approach for that round to try and tackle that brand new circuit for the series for a second straight one that's making its series debut?
Probably just get laps. Like I said, I've never been on I've never been on Barber before, so it's pretty much just seat time and laps and laps and laps, and then hopefully find something that works and hope for the best.
Anyone you want to thank before I let you go here, Chase?
Yeah, I want to thank Aspen for You know, like I said, teammate helping me out and working with the setup and everything. I thank my sister Kendall Berry, that's sponsored KB's All Around Shop. You know, she sponsored us and everything. Get your shirts, decals, all that good stuff made. Just hit her up on Facebook and she'll take care of you. So that's pretty much it.
Congratulations on the strong debut in the series. We'll see how you go at Barber.
All right, thank you.
That was Chase Berry coming away 13th. Had the positive overall positions gain today. But before Paul Smith speaks to our hard charger for today's race, we want to clarify one thing. We talked about at the start of the broadcast, Martin Paul was supposed to start from the pit lane due to race penalties from safety points entering the round. However, as noted about the second or third lap of the race, he did start on the grid, as in, he took the green flag with the rest of the field while charging through the field. That was not what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to start directly from the pit lane. That would have put him at least 30 seconds behind the rest of the field, making him ineligible per race review at the moment for the Hard Charger Award for today. Martin Capal not eligible for the award. James King has been awarded round number 3's Hard Charger Award. The privateer driver is now standing by with Paul.
Yeah, so there you go. That's news to you, James. Hard Charger Award winner, $5 to the rich. Just talk us through that race. You must have been, it must have been a difficult race for you, but it must have been a fun one as well.
Oh, it was certainly something. The last time we ran here was with the B cars, and they are a lot more planted than these trucks are. Just holding on to the thing was enough of a challenge. But obviously, I did have a pretty bad qualifying. I could have been over a second faster, which would have put me, well, it would have put me starting where I finished. So I suppose it kind of worked out well in one way.
Well, that's it. I mean, just talk us through moving through the field. Was it mainly just looking after your tyres and getting people at the right points, being patient with the truck, or was it just good fortune and a little bit of luck as well?
It's a mix of all of it, really. I tend to be quite sensible when it comes to passing anyway, compared to last year, of course, where I used to make good friends with the back of Talk Freak cars and things like that. But yeah, it's been a sort of a bit of a change of attitude for me. Play it a bit smarter and try and make places up the correct way.
Well, it certainly worked for you today, but before we head off, we've got Barber Mud Sports Park as the next track for you. How are you? Are you looking forward to that track?
It's probably my favourite track on the service. So yeah, I mean, normally I'm used to driving things like the IndyCar or the DP around there, so the truck will be another challenge. But really looking forward to it.
Well, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a quick mention to? Well, obviously to Christian for the great setup he provides that we all the drivers can use. I know not everyone does, but it got me home today. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Well, congratulations, James. Hard Charger Award winner for the Sebring event. Take care.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
That was James King, a privateer, and your Hard Charger for today, +5, and finishing 6th overall. And of course, that kind of tells the story of make sure you know what your strategy will be. Make sure you know what to expect for the race. And to make sure you know if you have a penalty that time, that might hurt Capal in the points heading into Barber for sure.
Yeah, I've been interested to see what the review is on that, of course. As always with these events, the race results here are unofficial, and of course awaits official review from the series admins. So at the moment, it is James King. Matt Capal did finish on the road in 7th, but we'll have to wait and see what the review says about that one.
There has been one clarification for that we've just been given. He will be expected to start from the pit lane at Barber at the very least for the next round, for round number 4. But round number 3 was a doozy. Your final thoughts overall here for Sebring?
I mean, it was a race that had everything. It had really close action. It had drama, Very little incident as well. It was all really just little self-spins, and that's what we don't like to see, the self-spins, but we'd rather that than having big mass pile-ups. So hats off to all the drivers here today. They put on a great show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait until we go to Barber Motorsports Park.
I can't wait either. It's the first time the race series goes to Barber as well. As mentioned by some of our interviewees today, a track with lots of turns, 2.38 miles, 27 total laps. That is round number 4. That'll be on April the 13th, a super sprint round. But I'd like to thank and tip the cap off to you, the fans, for tuning in for today's action here on RaceSpotTV and the Sox Out Racing Facebook feed. I'd like to thank our sponsors on your screen right now, including N-Warn Design, along with my broadcast partner as well, the man that's been in the director's seat and the color commentary seat today, Paul Smith. For everyone else, I'm Justin Prince saying so long from Sebring. We'll see you for round number 4 at Barber. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe.